Welcome back to Good Day Stateline. Your kids are having a fun summer, but there should be a little bit of learning and definitely some reading involved before we head back to school. Sally Anzola is here with us tonight. She's the CEO of United Through Reading, a nonprofit organization that works to put books in the hands of children of service members. Hey, Sally.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us. So we know you are loaded with thoughts and tips and ideas to help encourage children to fit reading in while they are still off of school.
We certainly are. That's our business, and we have one singular thing in mind, and that is to keep our children reading.
All right, so where should we start? What's like the number one idea that we should use to keep our kids reading?
You know, routine is great, and when summer happens, I know parents take a big sigh of relief, and the kids say, "Oh, I don't have to get up," and suddenly the routine just goes all to heck. And that's fun for a little bit, but then by August, we're all ready to get that routine back. Our recommendation is to keep reading in the summer routine throughout the entire summer. The routine just makes it easy, it makes it anticipated, it makes it expected. And so whether that routine is that you go to the park every afternoon and read for 30 minutes, or the routine is that you read after dinner for 30 minutes, or you read aloud a book with the family before you go to bed. Whatever that routine is really, really crucial. We know with our military families, particularly who we work with, that keeping that routine really kind of relieves stress in families. And so if you can keep a reading routine in your family, you're going to be all the better for it.
You know, adults, I think, can kind of think about it the same way we think about exercise, right? You know, it's something that maybe you don't always want to do, but for the most of us, if we care to exercise, we care to put it in our routines, and we kind of force it sometimes when
that is a great analogy. I'm going to use that in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Reading, exercise, it's good for you. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but it's always something you don't regret when it's over, right?
Exactly.
So when we're talking about reading with children, you suggested 30 minutes. Is that a good way to think about it, like in a minute form instead of pages or books or anything that might seem a little more stressful?
You know, I think it really doesn't matter. 30 minutes may seem like a really big stretch for a 4-year-old. And so maybe you do pages. Maybe we just do 3 pages or 4 pages, or we go to the next picture. So however your child is comfortable, you get a feel and a sense for your child. So you develop whatever that is. The other thing is that you don't have to read. You can have a storybook and look at the pictures and maybe tell me the story. Tell me what you're seeing with the pictures. You don't necessarily have to read the words, because children do start to connect words that they hear, words that they say, pictures and a book. That all starts to connect the older they get.
So we're talking about that we should be reading, but I guess we should also talk about what happens if kids don't read during the summer. You know, how can that hurt their educational development?
That's a great question, and a very important one. Researchers have had this on their radar for a good 25 years. It's called the summer slide. And we know that children, especially in elementary school, can lose anywhere from 17 to 35% of the prior year learning gains through the summer. That's huge. And if you think about that accumulating over the years, by the time you're in 5th, 6th grade, you're really at a loss, and it's very difficult to make up. But it's also not that difficult to reduce that. I mean, research is also telling us that if you read just 6 books over the summer, that you're going to help retain your reading skills. So the downside is huge. The prescription or the fix is not so hard.
Yeah, and you know, I think that parents, adults, aunts, uncles, grandparents, if we're reading with them, they're going to want to read with us. So that's probably the answer.
That is exactly right. I mean, you know, kids will not necessarily do what you tell them to do, but they'll definitely do what you do. And that's not always a parent's dream. But if children see you reading, whether it's a newspaper, whether it's People magazine, whether you're on Google looking up some information about something that's happening in your town, whatever you're doing, you're reading, and you are showing them that reading provides information which is helpful, which is interesting, which is entertaining. So do that, and your children will do it too.
Awesome. Well, Sally, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back with more Good Day Stateline.